So, welcome back. It's been a minute, and I apologize for that, but I'm pulling focus and doing the best I can. I do love doing these. It's just time gets away, as it sometimes does. I've been paying way too much attention to people that are trying to sell me fear, and I may have slipped into that for a little while, but through some spiritual guidance, through some inner examination, let's call it, looking at what's important and what isn't, and what I can do and what I can't do, and things I can put my hands into to make it better, and things that I just have to let play out on their own because I have no influence in those arenas. That's cryptic. I know it is. But you know me. I'm Hannibal, storyteller, magician, and somehow still managed to make a living in this strange space between the candlelight and the blue light, between the stage and the scroll. So this little episode is simply titled The Curtain Rises, living between the stage and the scroll. The scroll having so many different meanings all the way from the original, writings and correspondences done on scrolls back to the way we scroll today on our little screens. The way we just seem to keep scrolling down and down, this endless, non-ending scrolling. I have a presence in both of those places. My priority, my heart, my soul lives on the stage and has been for, God, as long as I can physically remember, just wanting to stand there under the lights and speak my heart. And then, in the modern age, having this presence on the screen, in the scroll, and hopefully to bring some light and uplifting to counter the people that are trying to sell the fear. So, let me take you to a moment that I live almost every night at the Stanley Hotel. I am the resident apparitionist, which is to say that I run the seance program at the Stanley Hotel. You talk about dreams I never knew I had. I'm performing a seance show at arguably the most famous haunted hotel in the world. It's quite a gig, and I don't take it lightly. So I have this job that I do. I have stories that I have to tell. Some of them are mine, some of the hotels, and some of the guests that have stayed in the hotel in the past. They've been around for 116 years. I've been around for the past 3.5, and I am dedicated to telling their stories and to bringing a good show to the people that cross my threshold. So the lights dim, become a little redder. The chat that I've been having with the audience gets quiet. There's a nervous anticipation. You can feel it because most of them don't have any idea of what this is going to be about, what's going to transpire, what they're going to have to go through. And they kind of shift in their seats, and then it gets quiet. The curtain doesn't rise because there isn't one, not in a literal sense, but with that quietness, with that moment, that hush, I can feel the curtain rising in my own spirit. When I step into that spot in the seance, the storytelling, the magic tricks, when I step up on stage at the underground, I'm not logging into a platform. I'm not fighting an algorithm. I'm standing across from real, breathing people who choose to leave their living rooms, their phones, their scrolls of endless distraction, and meet me in those lights, in that candlelight. The night has weight. The laughter is unrepeatable. The silence in between the spaces is fragile and precious, and I value it as much as when I'm speaking. Without the silence, the speaking just becomes cacophony. And then the show ends, and I leave, lock up my chamber, or walk backstage. There's another curtain, the curtain of my screen. I record these all on iPads, honestly. There's the inbox and the scroll, another audience, one that never claps but always demands, one that can be generous and cruel, fleeting and relentless. I live in both of those worlds, and to some extent, so do you. So, worlds collide, right? I meet strangers every single night. One night, like last week after a séance, a gentleman stopped me in the lobby and was just kind of overwhelmed with emotions, joy as well as nostalgia and memories and sadness. And he told me, the story you told, this particular story here, I really needed to hear that. I came into the room with a certain feeling, a burden that I've been carrying, and you happened to tell a story that spoke right to my need, and I don't think you even knew you were doing it. But I want to let you know that you are speaking to these people and you are delivering good things, and it feels so rare. I was actually having a conversation with a friend. There's a lot of shows that I enjoy, but I've been noticing lately the offerings that have been popping up on my TV are full of characters that nobody really likes. You can't have any admiration for these jerks, for the way they treat each other, for the way they treat the world. And I'm wondering, to myself, old person that I am, where's Andy Griffith? You know, where's the good guy? Where's the genuinely good guy? Where's Dick Van Dyke? A few hours later, after that encounter, I found myself over the typewriter, writing my journal, posting photos, trying to feed the digital audience. And the screen felt emptier than the story I saw in that gentleman's face. Yet, in the world we live in, one doesn't live without the other. The stage gives meaning, the scroll gives me reach. And this is the tension I live in, between the human and the digital, between the presence and the performance, between the stage and the scroll. And I have taken it upon myself to make the digital a bit more human, to the best of my ability, anyway. And so what I've learned from these encounters is that we have to choose really deliberately where the curtain in our lives, artists I'm speaking about, where does the curtain rise? The stage, whether it's a theater, a parlor, a kitchen table, or a quiet corner in someone's house, is where the life has depth, where memories are made, where stories live. The scroll, for all its flaws, is not really the enemy. It's just a tool. It amplifies, it extends, it connects, but it can't replace the hush of the curtain rising. So, my simple lesson is use the scroll to bring the people to the stage, and then use the stage to give people something worthy of carrying back to the scroll. And the cycle continues. A new kind of circle of life? Question mark. Am I feeding one to feed the other? In a way, yeah. When I sit across the table from someone, whether it's in a seance or a tarot reading or doing card tricks, or just telling stories, it's not about escape, not for me. It's about return. A reminder that we're not just spectators of a feed or of life, but we're all participants in this story. And that's the invitation that I offer every single night. If you're listening to this, maybe you've only known me through the scroll, the Instagram, the TikTok, or the YouTube or Facebook or wherever you found me, or even just a blog post. Let me extend that invitation. Come join me where my curtain rises. If we are friends, if we've known each other and we've shared stories, and you've tuned in to this just to hear my voice or just to hear what I have to say this time, and maybe it makes you laugh, and maybe it makes you laugh and point. I know I could be ludicrous at times. But this is the life, and in so many different ways I've chosen to share it, largely to strangers. So I work at the Stanley Hotel up in Estes Park, and I do a nightly seance, Wednesday through Sunday. And then I do a magic show at the Underground Theater in that same venue. My shows are living things. They evolve. They're fragile. They're unrepeatable because it largely involves the people that come to see, the people that are sitting in the chairs. They are not just passively watching the show. They are actively participating, largely enthusiastically. For the most part, that's the way it happens. Some come in very cynical and leave lighthearted. Naturally, I'm wise enough to know that you can't reach everyone, but I put my heart there under the lights every single night. So maybe come sit across the table. And we'll step out of the scroll and come into the quiet, into the live. Life is not just to be consumed. My Uncle Angus told me this like 20 years ago. Life is not just to be consumed, to be taken in, it's to be created and shared and lived. You wed yourself to the people you meet even casually because they become memories and part of your story. Every time the curtain rises, whether on stage or in the quiet moment when you close the app and just breathe, you're choosing story over noise. And that choice matters. Now, that's all I got to say for right now. Thanks for listening. Come see me play. Go visit my website. I've recently given some neat updates and some interesting writings. There's a new book that's just out, basically on the zen of preparing for the zen of preparing for performance. Made mostly for artists, but also for coaches and speakers and anyone that has to prep to speak in front of people, to share their heart in front of people. It's called Zen and the Magician's Hand. Yeah, check it out. Maybe you'll get something out of it. Certainly hope you do. Thanks for listening to my voice. Thanks for sharing in my life. Thanks for waiting on the other side of that curtain. And I'll see you really soon.